Thanks for joining us. Today's Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. It's 5:30 p.m. And this is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Marquette Township Board, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks. Okay, Randy, roll call, please.
All right, trustee Winslow,
Present.
trustee Kidda,
Here.
trustee Leighton,
Here.
trustee Everson,
Here.
treasurer Rickhauer,
Here.
clerk Rattari is here, and supervisor Duran.
Here.
Staff present is manager Kangas, our attorney Roger Zappa, and our finance director Kim Clark is here. And I don't think there's no one on Zoom tonight, so we're good.
We're good. Okay, any public comment before we start? Okay, we can get going then. We need approval of tonight's consent agenda, which consists of approval of regular meeting minutes of February 18th, 2026. We have bills payable in the amount of $85,204.94. No other reports. We have the Board of Trustees of the Pewterwide Public Library, regular board meeting minutes of Tuesday, February 17th, 2026.
I'll move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And we just need the remainder, unless there are any changes.
To approve the rest of the agenda.
Support.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. We don't have any privileged comment tonight. We will, should have at the next meeting. Community linkage. Are you hearing anything from anybody? Nice and quiet. Oh, we're doing everything right, right?
Except for the road.
Yeah, that's not us.
No, it's not us.
It's not us.
The only thing I hear is, and of course we can't do anything about it, is the snow, which you can't do much about, and the potholes in the roads, which we can't do much about until it gets a little bit warmer, until the county comes out and does pothole fixing, but that's about it.
Yeah, I had 2 calls last week, both on the snow. People complaining, yards and the road commission and what their neighbors are doing or not doing. It's not much. John was very helpful. I appreciate it. One of them I called him because I was stymied. So we did it. We took care of it. I did get an email from the director at the library, speaking of the library, wondering if we'd consider moving the mall drop-off box to the township. And we had talked about it a few years ago. I'm not sure if it was exactly this board or not, but the township board said, sure. Well, they ended up putting it at the mall, so it was okay. So she'd like to think about having it here. We talked about, Dunham's or Super One, so I told her I would ask you guys tonight. It doesn't have to be drive up. Randy's box is a drive up for the ballots.
Well, we did talk about it briefly last meeting, and I think we kind of assigned staff, the manager and such, to kind of think about it. And I don't know if you guys thought about it since then, John, but.
Now, unfortunately, we didn't talk about it in detail, but I'm sure we could find a spot. We may need to pour a small slab just to give space for it, because we can't just put it in the middle of the sidewalk. That has to be ADA compliant. Putting it at the ballot drop box at the end of that sidewalk there is fine, because there's no ADA access to that point. Adding another one out there, it'll have to be probably behind the existing sidewalk, is my guess. But then it's a matter of, are they willing to pay for the concrete slab?
Well, I can ask her, but before I got too far, I thought I'd check with everybody.
Well, I think if we can do it here, it's fine to get more traffic here, but, but we have to have a good place for it too, so.
I think we get more library user traffic here than they probably get at the mall, so
especially now.
especially now.
Okay, I'll check with her on the,
So speaking of the library, when is Andrea coming for a presentation? Probably May?
next,
Or is it
meeting?
next meeting?
sure, I didn't bring that. It's on my desk. I'll look it up and,
Well, in reference to that, we have a contract that I think will be, if we don't act on it, gets renewed for another 2 years, and then we have to, sometime in June or July, put the ballot language, if we so desired, on for the library again, because we just did it in 2-year chunks, so. And the reason we did that is because libraries are changing. We didn't want to lock ourselves into like 4 years or 6 years or what have you. So we just been doing it in 2-year chunks, and that's been acceptable to them, so. That way we don't lock ourselves in for a long period of time.
yeah, she's the next meeting.
Okay.
And she's updating her annual report for everybody, so she'll be ready. So if you wanna,
I will put that, I'll look for that. I'll have to research and find that contract, but yeah, I think there is verbiage in there that if we don't act on it, it automatically renews for another 2 years,
I think so.
which triggers putting the thing on the ballot,
Okay, so I'll make a note
which
of
I don't
that.
have a problem with, that's fine.
Okay. The county meeting last night, the last 2 meetings have been, actually 3 meetings have been a little bit busy with people in the audience talking about ICE, and they'd like the county to do a resolution. So I'm not sure where that's going or what they're gonna do, but just thought I'd let you know. The chair spoke on the topic, and the sheriff actually spoke too. Did a great little support for the county. They also have $5 million in ARPA funds that they're gonna spend, and they're going to, they had a list of maybe 6, I think, and they decided to go into, do a work session sometime coming up. They didn't pick a date. And I actually suggested to them that if you're gonna make a motion to do a work session, why don't you get your calendars out and do it? So, that's just me. But anyway, they're going to do that and then bring the recommendation back to the board. So maybe next meeting. And then I did do a report to them on the Central UP Planning, Materials Management Planning Committee, to kind of let them know. We've got over $150,000 that's there from, in the county funds from the state to do something with. And I reminded them that the 5 things that can be used for is contractual, which is the QPAD income or responsibility to pay them. Administration and staffing covers the county's time and staff. We get mileage, so we're allowed to do travel for going to meetings. Education and outreach and implementation are the next 2 big ones that we figured as a central group we would try to use that money for. And I think I mentioned to you before, we were looking maybe at Nagani, putting a couple thousand recycling carts there because they have curbside pickup. So the state is mandating in the next couple years that anyone who has curbside pickup must have curbside recycling available. So we figured that would help our numbers by increasing the recycling percentage if we have, a couple of thousand there. And it would also give more product to the Solid Waste Authority, which helps their bottom line, because we know that they're kind of struggling. So this is the report I gave to the county. I'm the county's representative or appointment, so that's why I do that every month. The Eagle is also sending the Central Planning Committee, all of us, webinars. So I've been doing almost a webinar every week on different facets of materials management. And you might remember that I mentioned once before about the Solid Waste Authority asking if they could implement a $25 per year fee to help cover recycling. And the authority and the audience at their meeting kind of bucked that. I did, Gary did, Sands Township did, and said, let's not rush into another fee, until we know what we're doing. So one of the Eagle sessions was on just that, and they actually had somebody, I can't even remember the city, I guess I didn't write it down, who spoke and said that it didn't take long for that $25 a year per household to be used up. And then they had to start thinking about what are they going to do next. So I did tell the county that. I said, you may get, this might come up before you again, because it has to be county implemented. And it looks like Eagle is maybe not suggesting it, but at least talking about it. So we expect to have this planning document on the 6-county materials management plan going forward available in July. It'll come to us. It's got to go to the county board for approval by the end of November. The 6 of us might come to the October county commission meeting and make a presentation in October. We're not sure yet. We're going to see. So that's enough about trash. But I got to keep you up to date too. I did an economic development Zoom from CEDM, and that was on TIFs, so it was pretty interesting. There wasn't too much anymore that I didn't know because we've covered it so thoroughly recently. And the Board of Review is next week, in case anybody feels they want to come in and have some questions or some kind of issues with their assessment or their taxes. We're here Monday from 3 to 9 p.m. and Wednesday from 9 to 3 p.m. So I think that's it. So we'll be here a lot. So if we're not hearing anything else, we can get into policy discussion. Okay. Consider bid award for Woodridge Culvert. I'm thinking that's John, since Lenny's not on.
It is. This is an award, a Section 19 funding award that the township received from a rapid snow melt at the end of the winter that year, the 2023 winter. And we were awarded up to $250,000 for this culvert replacement. The county road commission value engineered a project that was bid out, and you can see the award is within that $250,000 threshold at $158.55 plus their 3% admin fee. And the recommendation is to award to the low bidder, which is Smith Construction. The only other thing I would add is you may want to consider adding to your motion a request to MSP, who issues these funds, that the remaining almost $100,000 be reallocated to the road commission to be applied to Commerce Drive.
Great idea.
It's a thought and a request. I can't fathom a way that they'll do it, because our 250 was for a very specific project that's not connected to this. But the road commission did get funding for a portion of that out there. Only the worst part, which is right in front of the fire hall there. I would like to try to take that 90-something thousand and go as far out towards the highway as we can, since that's the worst of it. So maybe add that to your motion if you agree with the recommendation in front of you.
Yeah, the worst they're gonna say is no. Right, John?
Correct.
At least on that part of it. I'll make a motion that we award the bid to Smith Construction, the amount of $150,855, and reallocate the remaining funds to the Marquette County Road Commission for repair of Commerce Drive.
Support.
Motion and support. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you.
Keep your fingers crossed, but don't get your hopes too high. I guess I should say that's the best advice I can give on that one.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Thanks for thinking of that. 8B is considered DB Plan Agreement Amendment for our AFSCME contract.
This one's pretty straightforward, and unfortunately, it took us a couple of years to realize it. And MERS brought it to our attention after Kim inquired, what do we do when we don't have longevity in our contracts anymore? We replaced it with, I'm calling it a retention bonus. It's just a bonus after you reach the top of your pay scale. I believe it's a way to retain quality employees and minimize the amount of turnover in our workforce. We have to change the language on that agreement with MERS if we're going to report that bonus as earnings. So you don't have to agree to it, but the recommendation is to do so that we can be reporting equally among all employees.
I would make that motion to amend it, amend the language.
I'll support.
Okay, questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. Consider the next steps for Build UP funding.
I guess that's me again. But Mitch is here as my backup, and ultimately, I think he's the one that has to convince you that this is what we should do. Mitch is aware, I think, of the communications I've had with Build UP to date, which I've shared to the extent reasonable in the packet, and that is we have a reasonably high level of confidence that Build UP will have $750,000 that they could apply to this project in the form of a low-interest loan at a 2% interest rate. I think that's about the amount that they need to get the public water and wastewater constructed, along with all of the engineering, surveying, backfill, compaction, clearing and grubbing above it, that all of the stuff associated with it. So if we're going to move forward, we're on a path where the soonest we could close on bonds is actually right about the time the contractor is going to submit their invoice to the developer, meaning the water and sewer should be done by then. And they'll be going back to build a road over the top of it, or in between, depending on the actual location of the pipes in the ground. So we have to keep moving if we're going to continue attempting to use this tool to the benefit of the development. And yes, the developer benefits too, but the ultimate benefit is 48 new attainable or workforce housing units in the township, right? I don't want to come across as being the salesperson for the developer, but this is ultimately what has to be decided tonight. And I think Mitch has to convince you in some form or fashion that this makes sense, because now we have to spend a little bit of money, and that's the publishing cost as we're required by law for the notice of intent. And what I really believe is the concern is where does the revenue come from until the full value of the TIF is recognized? And whether it takes a year or 2 years or whatever that is, and I think we probably should talk to our assessor on this, because when do you actually see that? We get 2025's revenues in the beginning of 2026 when everyone pays their winter tax bill, right? So making sure that that delay is covered in there as well, but also making sure that the project is successful, because if something goes haywire halfway through and it doesn't get completed, then what? And I think that's what the biggest concern is. I think with their construction schedule, building 48 units in 2 years in the UP is, it makes the lenders uncomfortable because they're not used to that happening. And that's why this tool becomes so important. Mitch can talk to those details.
Okay. You want to?
Sure, I guess more open to any questions on it, but yeah, I think so. The way that our schedule looks is assuming our permits are approved, right? So those are getting, I think Jason should have a copy of the engineering today. I think that went in.
Maybe. I didn't
Yeah,
talk to him.
I saw it late this afternoon from Sev and Logan over at Wickwire. So they sent that in for town review, so that way we can move into the permitting. We've already got our permit for site clearing completed. So again, the schedule looks like we're gonna be moving forward, doing the infrastructure, and this is more or less a reimbursement for that infrastructure based off of that schedule, which helps on our lending side. As far as any concerns on the number of units in a year, I'm not terribly concerned about that at this point. Are we running into slowdowns on our other projects? Sure. But not by any means. I mean, we're still building a lot more than anyone else, and we're learned from our experience, I guess, at Maple Ridge of, hey, these are the areas that we need to focus on in order to make sure we don't have a slowdown on this project. For reference, the pace that we can go, I put in 5 foundations in the last week in Wisconsin. I have framers jumping on those houses already. So it's using the trades that we have from other sources in order to get this done, as well as the current trades that we have working on our projects here. So that's really what we're looking to do and try to commit to and keep the project moving as fast as possible, because prices will only continue to go up in building industry. So being able to get something done as quick as possible kind of helps with that as well. I'd say our biggest slowdown that's occurred at Maple Ridge recently is lack of county inspectors. So they're looking at possibly getting state inspectors, but we almost lost 2 weeks for that. We ended up losing about a week, but that's kind of, that's a concern that I have for this project that's going to be outside of our control. But everything that we can control, not really concerned about. As far as the assurances go, I'd send you an email, but it might be really close to the time of the meeting. What our plan or our proposal, I guess, would be to make this a low risk for the town, is do a 1-year escrow of the interest payment, essentially. So that would be able to be escrowed as we do the bond. We're paying for all the bond funding. The fees that the town would have, we would be able to cut a check for that. But then we would just look at that escrow annually, right? So say year 1, for whatever reason, we only get 13 houses up, then we're gonna know what the reimbursement schedule looks like for the TIF. There would be a gap. Say after year 1, we put up the 24 units that we're planning on putting up. Those are completed, occupied, you wouldn't have a gap, then that escrow would go away. But essentially it would be a yearly review of that escrow and how much needs to be there. I think details need to be worked out with that from a legal perspective, what the town thinks is legally binding on that portion, and then what that looks like from a risk perspective. And I think that's it's a good conversation for us to have. I don't know if we really have the details to say, hey, this is exactly how it works, right? But that's the goal of what we would like to add to eliminate the risk of the town to use this funding option.
If I may add to that regarding the amortization schedule, it doesn't sound like there's concerns from Build UP as far as front-loading interest in order to get the principal payments when the revenue is going to match. So it's a matter of if that's comfortable to the board or not as well.
Yeah.
That's what I was just gonna ask. So there's no mortgage payments until the TIF comes into effect, that we're just paying interest?
Correct. Or that can be negotiated with.
Probably for a couple of years.
Yep.
Because if you go too far, then the principal payment exceeds the TIF
Right,
revenue.
yeah, then there's.
Yeah, I mean,
piles up.
I don't think the numbers work against the project as far as a $750,000 loan. because I'm pretty sure the TIF tables show that it would ultimately generate more than that. But we need to make sure the amortization schedule proves it according to the projections from the TIF.
And we won't have an amortization schedule until we have an agreement that we're gonna move forward with the bond. So this is where, you know.
The chicken and the
Yep,
egg
the chicken
thing.
and the egg. So if we can move forward on, hey, this seems like a good way to de-risk it, and then work out those details as we get further along with more, yep, this is solid, that's, I think, what we wanna work on.
So the risk to the township currently, sorry, Mitch, I didn't mean to interrupt, is the publishing fee of, the last time we did this, which was a little over a year, a little under a year ago, it was $900 something, of which Mitch agrees would be part of the reimbursement. Correct?
Correct.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but we
Yep.
did talk about it.
If you needed a check for it tomorrow, I can drop off a check for $900 or whatever that funding.
Yeah,
fee
we
is.
wouldn't know the publishing cost until a couple of weeks from now. But, well, maybe they could give us an estimate when they get the proof done, but.
So this is the next step to signing the agreement, correct? Doing the
It's
notice of
the
intent?
next step in the commitment to selling bonds. To build UP at 2% interest rate. It doesn't commit you to it, and it doesn't guarantee the funds are there to fund them. So those two things still have to happen, right?
Correct.
But you can't do any of it without adopting this resolution and issuing the notice of intent,
Bonds, yeah.
publishing it in the newspaper.
Clear as mud?
And then we don't commit until the agreement's completed, and we know the funds are there.
Yeah, there still has to be a PUD agreement. Actually, that needs to be in place before they can get beyond clearing anyway, which puts that as their next controlling item in their schedule.
Yep. Yeah, it's something we're working on this week is a PUD agreement, so.
Carl?
Hate to put you on the spot, Mitch, but
Yep.
do you have in your company structure, if something were to happen to you, is somebody gonna be able to step up and continue this project and see it to the end?
Yep, actually, well, so my wife is also a 50% owner. She is able to jump in anywhere and take over any project anywhere. It's kind of surprising. She's also an engineer. She'll be at the Builder Show this weekend. She's acted as project manager when we've lost a project manager. She's jumped in, you know, she does flooring on homes. So there you've got some assurance there. Also, say, heaven forbid something happens, both of us, something happens. We're actually working on hiring an operations manager, but that's not necessary. Wilbur Design Construct is part of the project management team. They're motivated to finish the project as well. Then you have Trent as a project manager on this. Wilbur Design Construct may be bringing in a second project manager for this project as well. And then on our side, we have 3 office support staff. So I have Mei Lu in the office. I have someone else that orders materials. And then I have, more of a sales side, but he does like the sales stuff. And then we also have a project manager in Wisconsin, that could step in and assist. On top of that, that's my company structure. We also have to remember that there is Renovare as a partner in this project. They're going to be motivated to get that done through the agreement with our company. So on top of that, you have someone that will drive that group to finish. That is definitely my firm agreement or firm belief. I know Shannon, I'm the face at these meetings, but I will say every Tuesday, Shannon's like, we need to get this done. We need to get this done. She's on top of the back end, PUD and the legal agreements, the things that I'm a builder, build stuff. I can do subdivisions, all of that, but she's got more experience on that side. And I will say she's definitely pushing in the back end. That's definitely not seen by the board. So I think overall, yes, I have a lot of confidence.
I figured you did, but I just wanted to put everybody else's mind at ease as well, so.
Yep.
With that being said, I'll make the motion to acknowledge the engagement letter with PFM and adopt the NOI resolution as presented and authorize the staff to publish the public notice.
And I'll support that.
Okay, motion and
I just got one
support.
question, Mitch. You got enough worker bees?
Yeah, we do, but we could always use more. So,
You got a large commitment here, and I just wondered how you're set for worker bees.
so we have, not just in this area, but we have, like, the Valley, we did an audit last year. We have 130 people who work for us as trade partners. Between all the people, I think up here, our team is between 50 and 75 worker bees that touch every single house between all of the trades. And then we have a lot of connections with, like, we have a trade who may be retiring right now. So what is he doing? He's calling all of his other trades that he knows and saying, hey, how about this guy, this guy? So we have a very good team that's in support of the entire project. And that's where I kind of made that comment on the front end. Where we don't have enough worker bees up here for the pace that we need to go is in our framing department. We have enough worker bees in other areas of our business that they've been notified of the schedule and asked to come up and are willing to come up.
You can get some from Wisconsin and stuff?
Correct. Yep. So,
Okay. Thank you.
yep.
Any other questions? Or for John? Roger, do you have anything you want to add, or you don't have enough information yet? or-
I don't have enough information.
That's okay, I just didn't know how connected you were.
So the public notice will trigger a few things. I think you have to have a public hearing, right, on that? Or maybe
I
not.
went for the PUD.
Yeah. Well, I know when you sell bonds, there's a right of referendum too, that the public has an opportunity to.
The public notice triggers that 45-day
Yeah.
referendum period.
Yeah. So maybe that's what I was thinking about, but,
And that gets us to a early to mid-May
yeah.
window as the earliest date to sell the bonds.
Can you start anything until that time?
I can clear trees.
That's what I was thinking, get.
Yep,
the-
so that, we also blocked off access to the site, after John called me and let me know there were complaints, from citizens concerned about the safety or how slippery it was, so that was blocked off earlier this week. And then I kind of been working with Gary right now on when he wants to start clearing trees, but we have authorized them in 2 weeks to start that. That's kind of our schedule. And he may tell me he needs to start next week, I don't know, but we authorize them 2 weeks from now. This is when I expect you on site, weather permitting.
If you've been by the site, you'll see that Oberstar has an excavator there. As of earlier today, maybe they have more, I'm not sure. Frost laws go into place tomorrow, I believe.
Yeah, or today.
So
Yep. Yeah, they're pre-mobilizing before the frost laws, and that was one of Gary's big concerns was I need to be here before frost limits, and he's already taken care of that.
they do have county primary access, but most contractors like to pre-stage their equipment for frost laws.
Not only that, he told me the size machine he wants to use is too big for even that. So that was an interesting thing that I was like, you don't have frost limits. He's like, no, actually I do for this. So.
Would it be prudent to put up a sign that says not township property or owned by?
We have a sign for the neighborhood. We didn't put it up because there's mountains of snow, and we realized as soon as we put it up, you're not going to see it anyway. So that's essentially what we.
Mishta has some signage requirements by themselves, I think, don't
I
they?
think so as well. So I mean, there will be signage as the snow melts, and
Okay.
I'm sure Gary's going to be putting up some barricades as well as he gets started. But I think for now it was.
We have members of the press here too that are gonna get the news out.
Well, and that's just it, because there's so many people that, first of all, don't know that that's not a real road.
Yep.
They don't know that the township doesn't own the property anymore. They don't know that the project's coming.
Yep.
So the more we can let people know, so our switchboard isn't
Yep.
blasting out too when this starts moving and people get mad.
Yep, absolutely. And I know we put up a Facebook post, which I know is only so much, but we put that up notifying everyone, that looks at our page that it's closed, and if they have any concerns, just direct them directly to my email.
So we can share that Facebook page.
Absolutely.
We'll just go to Wildflower and,
Yep, and I think the township's actually tagged in it as well, so my hope is if you're tagged, hopefully anyone that looks at the township website should see it, or I don't know if that works that way, but.
Sean, do we still have signs up there Or they
Oh,
removed it?
there's
Lenny and I talked about it today. He didn't have any snowshoes and I didn't either when we drove by. There's probably one or two out there. Gary knows about them.
There's definitely
So-
some out there.
There's 3 at least. One
Yeah,
on-
we'll
one
get
on
to them.
each.
I'm not sure how many of them are blocked by mountains of snow
Snow?
that we sold with the property.
Yeah, it's
it
your
was-
snow now.
Yeah, right?
As is, where is. I think that's the common terminology we use, so.
So I just have a question. So the signage we're talking about, you're gonna put a sign up, say development happening with some nice pictures and,
Correct. Yep.
okay. And who is Gary?
Gary Raffelli.
works for Overstar. He's our main point of contact.
Well.
for site work.
I didn't know who Gary was. I know who Chuck is, but I don't know who Gary is. Okay, thank you.
We work with Gary on projects annually in the township.
Well, I'm just helping the community who's listening to know
That's
who
good.
Gary
Yep.
I'm
is.
wondering if Gary works for us or who we work
Yeah.
for.
Thank you.
Yep.
I can't wait to see the sign.
It's in my trailer, I think.
Is that? Ooh, picture.
Big project.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll be doing pictures along the way and we'll be able to publish what I would call a story
Yes.
as to how this
actually,
happened, because this is a really big deal in my mind for Marquette County and the Upper Peninsula.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like stories.
There's a lot of firsts happening,
Mm-hmm.
between the Mishta money and the Build UP money and,
Residential TIF.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the whole. the
Brand new
PUD,
tools.
The whole project.
Yeah, because I'd like to be able to talk it up as I leave this, go and visit other communities to say, this is what we all worked hard to have happen.
Yeah, and for sure letting other developers know about these tools. Obviously, they're not easy to use, but they really do make a big difference on being able to make a project of this size happen versus, like Maple Ridge has some good tools too, but we're not moving at the same pace there, and our price points are different there as well. So,
It's just a different story.
yep, exactly.
Thank you.
Anything else? We have a motion and a second. Got any more comments or questions? No?
May I just clarify, baked into that motion is acknowledging PFM will be our municipal financial advisor for the bond sale if it happens. And that's who we used the last time. It's who we
Linkage.
intended to use when we sold the bonds for the water projects that haven't happened yet. Yeah, along with Miller Canfield, I just don't have a engagement letter for them at this point.
So just saying the engagement letter from PFM is enough for what you're
Yep,
talking
and
about?
it was in the motion that was made.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. That's it? All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Yep, thanks guys.
Thanks for being here. Good,
Yeah,
good
no problem.
answers. Okay, consider opposition letter to House Bill 5529, 30, and 31. I think we got an extra 2 there. Or were there 4 bills? I forget. There would have been 4.
I think there's 3. So just a little bit before Lynn starts, if I can, the planning commission talked about this. We had prepared a letter that Jim Johnson, our chairman, was going to send and was going to talk with the township board. So I'm guessing that some of that carried through. And we are now sending a letter, maybe just from the township board, but no, the planning commission really supported sending something like this.
No reason we
so.
can't send both. They are a little bit different.
Yeah, and maybe they are, but I just know that there was conversation about that at the planning commission, and people felt strongly about letting our legislative people know where we stand.
John?
MTA also has a petition that anyone can go and sign as well, which you were probably going to get to. I'm sorry if I stole your thunder on it. But this is a big deal when it comes to local control on zoning. I mean, the Zoning Enabling Act doesn't exist arbitrarily. It was created for a very specific reason, and this undoes a lot of that, which is of great concern. It gives power to people in Lansing that know nothing about our community,
And we're not one size fits all.
or
It's just
takes away power
ridiculous.
that we currently have.
We're not like Battle Creek or Lansing or even Republic. You know, everybody's different. So I clearly did not write this. This is from Jason McCarthy, but he put my name on it so that it could come from the board. Questions?
I'll make a motion that we authorize a supervisor to sign the attached letter and send it to our legislators on behalf of the township board.
Support.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Only comment I made is, will make, is, again, Lansing's trying to take local control away once again.
Yep. They've tried
Which isn't
doing it
good.
with the short-term rentals too. That's still kind of, they're still working on that. Nothing's been decided on that.
'Cause every time they take local control, we have problems.
Can I add one thing to that as it relates to the subject we just finished talking about? What they want to do is what we are working on doing without their help, as well as in our master plan. So we're already doing the things that other people either are choosing not to or are fighting on. We're already doing it on our own. We don't need their help to do it. And I think that's important for everyone to understand. I don't think this township is saying we don't want to be flexible when it comes to adding additional housing options because we recognize the need for it. And I say we because I'm here to represent you. So hopefully people understand that. Lansing wants to tell us we have to do what we're already doing. Well, we don't need them to tell us that.
I agree. Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I'll get that out tomorrow. Consider annual joint meeting with the Planning Commission. We made a decision, I don't even know anymore, a few years ago, that the second meeting in March would be a joint meeting with the Planning Commission. We're required to meet with them at least once a year. And sometimes the years got away from us. So I had asked Jason to put it on the Planning Commission's calendar and make sure, so we were going back and forth on that. So we need a date or a commitment or a recommendation. He's not so sure that they're gonna have their next meeting because they're waiting for too many things to happen before they can actually have a meeting. You know, as the building season starts now in March and April and plans start coming in, see, once in a while they'll cancel a couple meetings. So, thoughts? If you're gonna be around, if we wanna, their meetings are at 6 now? Rather than 7, because in the past, sometimes we've met like at 5, and then they just go into their meeting. So,
I think it's more important to have them come up with a date that works for them. I think we're a little bit more flexible,
Yeah.
pretty much.
it doesn't matter to me.
Pretty-
Jason said tonight that,
If they could give
they'll
us a
do
couple
whatever
dates
we
and then we
want.
could just say, yeah, okay.
okay, I'll email him back and tell him. I
So
think
this
they're
normally
deferring to the
happens
big
on a
meeting.
normal meeting night, whether it's the board's normal meeting night or the planning commission's normal meeting night. Is everyone available on a Wednesday evening? First, second, third, or fourth Wednesday?
Pretty much.
Yeah, you gonna be out of town, or?
Yeah, it's a work session anyway. It's not a meeting.
Okay, I'll let them know.
So if they're gonna cancel their next meeting, that could be the meeting.
Well, yeah, really, I mean, really, yeah.
That's a good
Even if we
idea.
have nothing to talk about at our planning commission, it isn't bad to get together with the group, and then your time constraints aren't there as much, so. And again, people will come, and all the planning commission members know it's the second and fourth Wednesday, so they've already blocked
They're
that
used
off.
to it, yeah.
Unless-
Yeah.
unless- yeah.
Okay.
So maybe their last meeting of the month then, if,
How about next week?
That would be March 18th.
yeah.
Ours is the 18th.
Oh, ours is
Ours is the 18th, theirs would be the
Yeah.
25th.
So if they're planning on canceling the
11th.
next week meeting, he said he hadn't done it yet,
No.
Okay.
so maybe
Make next week's planning commission meeting a
the
joint work
meeting.
session.
Right.
That's fine.
Okay,
I'll be good for that. I'm good.
What's the date on that?
March
That's-
11th, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, I'll make a motion then that we schedule a work session with the planning commission next Wednesday, the March 11th at 6 PM.
Support.
That way I can get the posting up.
Do you want to do it at 5 in case they do have a meeting, or you want to do it at 6?
Or
Staff.
how about 5 would be good.
5 would be good, right?
How about,
Just in case?
yeah, that'll give us an hour.
Okay.
I'll amend it for 5. You're
I'm
fine.
good with that.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Good, thank you. Boy, that was easy. Any public comment? Now that we went through that, that was a quick agenda. Any announcements from the board? Randy, have you got any? I have a question for you.
The only announcement I have is we got a response back from our website, and we have to clean up some language there because Civic Plus or Civic doesn't want to, I don't know, there was something about the tools they were going to give us that they're going to hold back till next year, which wasn't a really big deal for us, but the migration to the newer website still needs to happen, and the ADA compliance still needs to happen. So we'll probably next meeting either get an agreement on the updated thing we're working on. So hopefully that'll go from there. And absentee ballots, I talked to the county clerk last night, should be in about probably late next week or the week after. And then once we get those, we'll start getting them out to the residents. Because we have our permanent ballot list that if you're on it, you'll get the ballot as soon as, we can get them sent out. If you need to get on that list, come into the office and we can get you on that list, or you can still come in, apply for an absentee ballot, but, and not be on the list if you so choose, but I'm not keeping 2 lists anymore. There's a permanent ballot list and that's it. Because otherwise 2 lists are too cumbersome for us to keep. So either you are on the permanent ballot list or you are not. And I say it's better to be on that list if you want an absentee ballot, because if you don't want to vote on the election, then always destroy the ballot. It doesn't break my heart. So that's all I have. We have a clerk's meeting next week, so that's about it. So what is your question?
House Bill 4583. Are you familiar with
I
that?
am not, I didn't look at, what is that in reference
They
to?
want to limit any millage questions to only the November ballot.
I did hear about that, and I think that the MTA and such was against that.
Oh, yeah.
Because, in my opinion, it should not be the state telling you what ballot your millage goes on. It should be the local municipality that figures out where they want to put it. Because if you put it in to the November ballot, you can end up with a long ballot or 2-page ballot, which I don't want to get, physically you'd have to have 2 pages if it gets too long.
Figured you'd say that, but I
So,
wanted to-
and I really don't want to go there, so I think the way we have it now is fine. I don't know why they're pushing this, but
It's that local control again.
yeah.
They want to tell us what to do all the time. Yeah, I just wondered.
Yeah, I would be opposed to it if we have to send a letter, I'd be willing to sign on to that, but I'm sure we'll talk about it at the county clerk's meeting next week.
Yeah, and if you think that's a good thing to put a letter together, we can do that. We're assuming they read them, right?
We would hope so.
Any other announcements? Manager's report? I imagine Mitch took all of your time the last week or so.
It wasn't Mitch.
No?
Nope. He was pretty quick to deal with. Usually it was more providing each other updates, and a lot of it I'm actually able to see in real time. I thank you for that, by the way. I found your schedule and I thought, the permitting time frame looked reasonable, assuming that we got a good set of drawings. We did talk to the drain commissioner about how we handle that review process, and I think he wants to handle it the way we always have, so no changes there. So no surprises for us that could add potential delay for you or anyone else. But yeah, there have been some time-consuming items on this to make sure we don't lose track of it. Schedule is obviously very important at this point. If we get to the point of actually selling bonds, we need to get there as quickly as possible in order for it to be an effective funding mechanism.
And we gave John full access to the project schedule for the site work, so he's got the direct line of communication, all the tools that are in there, all the files, everything, so just trying to be as transparent as possible. So if there's an update on our side, he sees it in real time, and if I forget to call him or text him, it's in there.
That's awesome. Thank you.
It's almost makes me feel powerful, but at the rate they're adding things to this, I don't even know what it is. It's a web tool or something like that. Very valuable information that I can share with Lenny or Jason as I see it populating. We might know before they even make the official submittal that it's available to see, so.
Great. What else have you been working on?
That-
Anything else you can share?
Not that I'm willing to discuss publicly.
Okay.
There are some union things and staff things that this isn't the appropriate venue.
Anything from the city project, the water project?
Uh,
Anything different?
Not beyond what I stated at the last meeting.
Okay,
We'll probably hear more for April.
okay. Any questions for John? Okay, sounds good. Would you mind doing our motions?
Yeah, so the consent agenda was the first motion, approved as presented, that was approved. Second motion was the regular agenda. As presented, that was approved. The third motion was to approve the award bid for the Woodridge culvert, that was approved. The fourth motion was to consider the DB plan agreement through MERS, and that was approved. The fifth motion was to consider the next steps for the build UP, and that was approved. The sixth motion was to consider the opposition letter to the 3 House motion bills that wanted to take local control away, that was approved. And the seventh motion was to schedule a joint meeting with the Planning Commission next Wednesday, the 11th at 5 p.m. And that was approved.
Perfect, thank you. So for right now, we'll just possibly have the contract, the library contract on the next agenda,
Yeah, I'll look at that. I gotta dig that out.
which will be the 18th. That's our next meeting.
Yeah.
Comments? Anybody? Anything to share?
I just have one thing. The marijuana tax payouts are going to be a little less this year, but not significantly in my mind. Each site, I'll call it, or each building will get a $54,000 check for. So I know we budgeted for some of that money, but I'll again say that I would like to see some of that spent on some visible projects that the township residents see. So hopefully we have some of those this summer. We all like those visible projects.
We still have that signage project lingering from a couple years ago. Actually, that might have been since COVID, I can't remember. It keeps getting backburnered, but that's probably a good one that might be within our unbudgeted revenue portion. So I think we might have budgeted 50, and we'll get a little over 100. Some flexibility,
That's for signs on the building you were
Correct.
talking about, yeah.
one that
So
says
people know where we are.
township administrative offices, community room, whatever you want it to say. So people know which entrance they're at.
Also some beautification for our roundabouts, whatever that means. So I guess some things to kind of look at along with our priority goals. The other thing is the planning commission should, the plan, what is that called? I just
Master
forgot. Yeah, the master plan.
It's out.
You should be seeing it soon. So take some time and look through it. It will go to a public hearing And it's almost done. So it's pretty exciting. There's lots of work in there. If we could hire 1 million people, I said, oh my goodness. But we'll have to pick and choose what's important to us. So that will be what our goals will reflect as we look at that. So I encourage you to look at it.
And we've got policies we've got to look at too. We've just had too many other things we're working on. Not enough time for anything. Anything else? Just need another motion.
I got the 8th and final motion of the night, that we adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned at 6:25.